In the frozen fjords of Norway, during the reign of the Viking kings, there lived a legendary warrior named Bjorn Ironside, whose sword had never tasted defeat. But tonight, as he knelt in the snow outside his burning village, watching everything he loved turn to ash, he made a vow that would haunt him forever. "I swear by Odin's name, I will have my vengeance. I will find who did this, and I will make them suffer as I have suffered."
The raiders had come in the night, silent, brutal, efficient. They killed Bjorn's wife, his 2 sons, and every soul in his village except him. They left him alive deliberately with a message carved into his door. The debt is paid. For 3 years, Bjorn hunted the raiders across frozen seas and hostile lands. His heart became as cold as the northern ice. He interrogated merchants, tortured informants, and followed every whisper until finally he discovered the truth. The raiders belonged to Jarl Eriksson, a powerful chieftain from the eastern settlements. But when Bjorn arrived at Eriksson's hall, prepared to burn it to the ground as his village had burned, he discovered something that shattered his world. The Jarl was already dead, killed in battle 6 months ago. And living in the hall, now under the protection of the new Jarl, was a woman and her young daughter. The woman's face turned pale when she saw Bjorn. "You," she whispered, "I knew you would come." "Where are the men who destroyed my village?" Bjorn demanded, his hand on his sword. The woman's eyes filled with tears. "They are all dead. My husband led them, and he died for what he did. But before you take your revenge on me and my daughter, you must know the truth." She led Bjorn to a room where an elderly woman lay dying on a bed. The old woman's eyes widened in recognition. "Bjorn, my grandson." Bjorn staggered backward. "Grandmother? You died when I was a child. They told me you drowned."
The old woman shook her head weakly. "Your father, he cast me out. I had spoken against his cruelty to prisoners, his greed, his violence. He told everyone I was dead and forbade anyone from speaking my name. I came here, to the eastern settlements, and was taken in by Eriksson's family." The younger woman continued. "Your father didn't just raid villages, Bjorn. He slaughtered entire settlements for their wealth. 10 years ago, he massacred my village, killed my parents, my brothers, everyone. Only I survived because I hid in a barrel. Your father's raid, Bjorn. Your father's cruelty." Bjorn's world spun. "No! My father was a hero. He was a monster," his grandmother whispered. "And when my husband, Eriksson, learned what your father had done to my daughter-in-law's family, he gathered men to seek justice. They went to your village not to murder innocents, but to execute your father. But he wasn't there. He had already died at sea months before. The men, they were so full of rage at your father's crimes that they lost control." The woman sobbed. "They thought they were bringing justice to a demon's family. They didn't know you had nothing to do with your father's sins. When my husband returned and told me what happened, the guilt destroyed him. He couldn't live with what he'd done. That's why he sought death in battle."
Bjorn sank to his knees, his sword clattering to the floor. Everything he believed about his father, his family, his honor, all lies. His entire quest for vengeance had been built on ignorance. And now he faced a horrifying realization. If he killed this woman and child, he would be exactly what his father was, a man who punished the innocent for the crimes of others. "Kill me if you must," the woman said, placing a dagger in his hand. But please, spare my daughter. She is 7 years old, the same age I was when your father destroyed my world." Bjorn looked at the little girl, who stared at him with terrified eyes. In her face, he saw his own sons. In her mother's eyes, he saw his wife's fear in those final moments. The cycle of vengeance stretched before him like an endless winter. His pain creating more pain, his loss creating more loss, forever and ever. With trembling hands, Bjorn dropped the dagger. "No more," he whispered. "No more blood, no more orphans, no more widows." He turned to his dying grandmother. "I spent 3 years hunting revenge, but I should have spent them seeking truth. My oath to Odin was a fool's oath, sworn in rage, bound in blindness." His grandmother reached for his hand. "The bravest warrior is not the one who never breaks an oath, my child. It is the one who has the strength to break a wrong oath before it destroys his soul." Bjorn left the hall that day, not as a warrior seeking glory, but as a man seeking redemption. He spent the rest of his life building homes for war orphans, never raising his sword again. The villagers called him Bjorn the Broken, thinking his spirit had been defeated. But he knew the truth. He had not been broken. He had been remade.
This Viking saga reveals a devastating truth. Revenge born from incomplete truth transforms victims into perpetrators, creating endless cycles of suffering that destroy everyone they touch. Bjorn's tragedy wasn't just losing his family, it was spending years pursuing vengeance without understanding the full story. His father's sins had created the very destruction Bjorn suffered, making him both victim and indirect architect of his own pain. The most profound moment comes when Bjorn must choose: continue the cycle by punishing the innocent, or break his sacred oath to stop the suffering. The story teaches that oaths sworn in rage are chains that bind us to darkness. True honor isn't about keeping every promise, it's about having the wisdom to recognize when a vow leads to evil and the courage to break it. Sometimes the strongest act isn't revenge, it's choosing to absorb the pain and refuse to pass it forward. Breaking a wrong oath doesn't make you weak, it makes you wise. In your life, when you feel wronged, ask, "Do I know the complete truth? Will my actions create more victims?" True strength isn't found in perfect vengeance. It's found in the courage to end the cycle of pain. The greatest victory is choosing peace when war feels righteous. Revenge is easy. Wisdom is rare. Before you swing your sword, check the truth. Hit subscribe for more stories that stop wars before they start.